Which Assassin's Creed has the best parkour? Unity, and it's not even close. The more interesting question is which Assassin's Creed has the second best parkour. Assassin's Creed 1 is perhaps the most underrated. Assassin's Creed 3 had the movement fluidity of traditional Assassin's Creed while having a bit of environment variety that we have come to expect. Newer titles have ridiculously basic systems that seem to be designed for chimps, and the kicker is you can't even try out that basic system because you can't parkour anywhere for more than 2 seconds straight. Go through a window, jump over a pot, and you'll have experienced the legendary parkour in Assassin's Creed. So Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla are out straight away. Syndicate had a grappling hook, which I was not a fan of at all. Why would you want to limit the most iconic thing about your franchise? I get it, Victorian London, wide streets. Maybe they could have stuck to only horizontal movement with the hook. Because now that game feels like Just Cause 4, and if there's one rule for a game developer, it's to never make your game feel like Just Cause 4. And the even more moronic thing is that they took out 70% of Unity's mechanics. I mean, the game came out a year after Unity, the next generation of consoles are nicely settled in, but nah, in typical Ubisoft fashion, they evolved backwards. But just when you thought they hit rock bottom, they fell further. I don't know if rock climbing comes under parkour because that's pretty much the extent of free running in the RPG trilogy. You're either running everywhere, riding horses that don't work, or sailing. Unity is great because it has none of the three. You are free running, but you aren't running anywhere. Also, Paris was just made for parkour, at least the in-game version, which is apparently an accurate recreation. So I guess if you were in Paris in 1772, you could have shown off them mad skills. The game has so many moves, even parkour nerds wouldn't be able to name them all. Side hops, reverse hops, swiveling pull-ups, but all that lasted exactly one game. Ubisoft have dumbed down gameplay mechanics twice with Assassin's Creed, first with AC2, then with Syndicate, and you can bet your they'll do it again. Even though no one, not a single soul has ever said, I don't like Unity because it's too complex. I don't like Unity because it was a cluster. Yeah, sure, but not a single complaint has been made about Unity going all indie on gameplay. Assassin's Creed 3's Frontier section added a lot, not only to parkour, from fighting bears with quick time events, diving into water from cliffs. It was even the first time we got naval combat. The game had rope darts, which is still my favorite weapon in the entire series. What it also had was a decent parkour system. To a certain degree, the map was like Paris, in that it was made for fluent free running. Trees lined up, the cities weren't as fun. With wide streets, it was just climbing and jumping, not fluid, fast and exciting. But out in the wilderness, it was much more brisk when you tried, even though the game didn't have as many moves. And just like Unity, parkour and stealth worked really well together. You weren't sitting and waiting like in Black Flag where you sat in bushes, whistled and waited for eternity. AC3 made you more proactive thanks to parkour that actually helped. It wasn't there just to look cool. I don't quite know why it is so good. Sure, it has some downright stunning animations, but it's not because of any fancy moves or even the base system, which was similar to Black Flag. Maybe it was just because of how fluid and fast everything felt. I don't know a lot about parkour, but to me, AC1 system seems the most realistic. For example, when you were climbing or just ascending, it was slow. When you're descending, it's at breakneck speed, and even then Altair is doing some awesome shit in midair. Do not for 1 second think just because this was the first entry, animations must be outdated. In fact, for any Ubisoft series, the older they are, the better they probably are. AC1 had tons of animations for combat, for parkour, which is why I consider the game to be better than AC2 when it comes to just pure gameplay. Sure, it was a little messy and frustrating, but you could really feel the potential that has been realized these past few years. Even when you're running on ground, you could jump and barrel roll, interact with the environment in satisfying ways instead of, sticking to everything and awkwardly jumping over after banging every button on your controller. For all those reasons, I think Assassin's Creed 1 has the second best stealth in the series. AC3 might have lost this one, but combat in the game makes you feel like an overpowered Batman in the Matrix. Click the video on screen to find out if AC3 has the best combat or is it another title in this amazing 15-year-old franchise.